fun.
Did you know, since 1985, Crime Stoppers has helped solve close to 8,000 crimes in New Brunswick? Crime Stoppers, 1-800-222-TIPS. That's 1-800-222-8477 or www.crimenb.ca.
Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Today is June 26th, Wednesday, of course, and this is What Matters Most. And I'm Heather Acker, your host for this evening. And What Matters Most is a show we like to call we have a little bit of everything. We have interesting people, interesting places, events, just anything that's happening in St. John or around St. John that I'd like to bring some attention to. So if you have somebody that you'd like to see on our show, please send us a note or drop us a line. And without any further ado, I'd like to introduce my first guest. His name is Robert McGuire. Hi, Robert.
Hey, Heather.
So good to see you this evening.
Good to see you.
So, Robert, what are you involved with now?
So I have a group benefit consulting company.
Okay.
A company that sort of a soft launch this week. It's called Atlantic Benefits Collaborative, and it's really a rebrand of my former company, which was McGuire Financial Services.
Okay.
That company's been around for about 21 years. And the reason for the rebrand was that a lot of people kept confusing us with accounting firms, and it's really not something that we do often. And so we wanted the name really to align with what it is that we actually do.
Okay. And I think you're going to tell me a little bit more about what you do.
So we work with small businesses, anywhere from 2 to 2,000 employees.
Wow.
Not necessarily that small.
That's big. That's a big company.
It is. But we work with them to help them figure out what it is that they need from a resource perspective for their employees. So we offer health and dental programs, group retirement programs, as well as some ancillary services, which is part of the reason for the rebrand. We're now bringing in some collaborative partners where we offer some HR consulting services, and we offer on-site health and wellness and some off-site wellness and nutrition as well.
Oh, very good. Very good. So do you take in training like large groups of people, or do you just sort of do one-on-one stuff?
No, we would do employee staff meetings. So we would go in and we would actually educate them about their benefit program. We would help them enroll in the benefit program if their employer was implementing a new program or switching to a new provider. And part of that is that we introduced recently some education tools for business owners, one of which is a presentation that I think you saw recently about cannabis in the workplace.
Yes. Now that brings up a whole new opportunity, doesn't it? I'm very interested to see where the cannabis and, I guess, work environment, how the restrictions are and all that, like what are they going to be doing for future. So perhaps you could tell me a little bit about that
Sure.
new priority that employers have to kind of take a look at.
Sure. It's funny because a few years ago, medical cannabis made its way onto the stage.
Right.
There's been a lot of evidence about therapeutic use, and a lot of group benefit providers have been including that in their group benefit plan, or at least asking questions about whether they can include it in their benefit plan. And more recently, we noticed that with the upcoming and now 9 months ago legalization of recreational cannabis, that really became a hot topic with employers around how they were going to deal with that in the workplace.
Right.
So we wanted to give them some insights around that, and we put together a little presentation that just talks about some of the nuances around medical cannabis and the requirements for that versus recreational cannabis.
Now, is there any type of measurement that employers can, say, provide for their employees, or is it not quite there yet?
So a measurement is in usability?
Well, I guess for my own thoughts of this is like you can do like an alcohol test or something,
Right.
if you feel that an employee might be maybe had too much alcohol or something.
Sure.
But is there anything kind of like that that's coming up in the future, you
So
think?
currently there isn't. There is some testing that's being done for larger employers, so they would typically have the resources to have a testing facility to monitor that. The onus is really coming onto the business owner about looking for impairment and signs of impairment and using that as the gauge. Really looking at, is it a safety sensitive position? And that's really where you would see testing. If
Okay.
it's not a safety-sensitive position, you're really relying on the impairment component. With testing, it does get into a bit of a gray area with human rights legislation and whether or not it's discriminatory.
Right. Oh my goodness, of course. So what's the employer's duty to accommodate this?
So if an employee has a requirement to have medical cannabis, and currently there are a number of conditions that it could be prescribed for, insurers only cover 4,
Okay.
typically around cancer-related or MS patients. But if they did have a requirement to have medical cannabis, they would have to go through a process where they would notify the employer that they have this medical prescription, and the physician would provide them with details around what their workplace looks like. So that could be, they call it a duty to accommodate, but it could be something like modified job duties or even a leave of absence from work or special place for that employee to work if they have to use cannabis at work.
Okay.
So those are sort of some of the duties to accommodate from an employer's perspective. When it comes to medical cannabis. On the recreational side, however, if there is a determination of impairment or that somebody is under the influence, there are some rules around that. It certainly can be looked at as a disability. If somebody has an addiction, for example, to a drug, not just cannabis, could be an opioid or alcohol. But in that circumstance, the employer would still have a duty to accommodate, because at that point now that person has a disability and they have to accommodate them during their treatment for
Right.
that disability.
Oh my goodness, yes. Have you run across much in the market that people are like asking you the questions about this now?
We are getting more and more questions, and it's unfortunate because legalization happened 9 months ago, and
Yeah.
we would have hoped that many employers would have had a preemptive strike at this, so that they would have been prepared for that. But many employers, surprisingly, don't have any policies in place. Surprisingly, on the small end of the market. So in the smaller employers, a lot of them don't have policies or manuals and how they're going to deal with that, even currently today. So we're trying to educate people as to what they can do to help protect their employees and the public.
Oh, okay. And speaking of that, with product wise, what are the strongest compounds in a cannabis? Like what would they be looking for
So
exactly?
typically, either medical or recreational, a patient or a user is looking for 2 components. It's
Okay.
either THC or CBD. THC's got a really long name, delta-9 tetrahydrocannabinol, I believe is
Wow.
what it's called. That's the most studied compound, and that's the one that gives you the psychoactive effect or the high. CBD actually provides pain-relieving effects without getting you high. So those are the chemicals that really are being researched. There are other cannabinoids as well, but those aren't as prevalent.
Okay.
And so when an individual is looking to use that drug, it's for one of those two uses. And so from a medical perspective, somebody could have CBD, which they would have for pain of some sort, and it wouldn't impact them in the workplace. There'd be no impairment.
Oh, okay. So do you think this is going to be something that's fairly accepted in coming years? I know it's like forecasting a gray fog, I'm sure, but just what are your thoughts? I won't hold you to it.
I look at, we'll use retail sales in New Brunswick as an example. So
Yes.
it's been a bit of a flop so far. They've lost, I think the government lost about $18 million or so
Wow.
in that first 9 months on cannabis. So I don't think it's gone over on the legal side as well. However, I do think that that's because there is still a bit of a stigma, and that will eventually go away. I can't say when exactly that will go away, but interestingly enough, the stats that we saw with the Conference Board of Canada were that as of, I think it was March of 2018, 12% of the population, so that's 15 and older, have used cannabis at least once in the last year. So there will be a number of individuals that continue to use this, and as it becomes more widely accepted, you will see that more individuals, more organizations will be, I guess their policies will be evolving
Sure.
in how they deal with that. And I have an HR consultant that I deal with quite regularly who has said that it really doesn't matter what the policy is today, because as we get further down the road with legal cannabis and we have more of a track record and more understanding of impairment,
Yes.
then policies will change a little more. The impairment piece is really key because THC affects somebody different than alcohol.
Sure.
And because it's been illegal for so long, it really was not something that was studied a great deal. And so now that it's legal, they're looking at it and saying what really is impairment, because it does affect somebody differently than alcohol, and it affects different individuals differently as well.
Right, right. I suppose, and some people would be more tolerant than others as well,
Right.
right? And it's only New Brunswick that it's legal. I don't know a whole lot about this, but I believe it's New Brunswick.
Right across the country.
Yeah, sorry, I
Right.
meant, I don't know what I was going there. I was going there with something else, I'm sure. The, with the cannabis, oh, and your study of where you are with the, doing the testing and the insurance side of it. Is this something that's you're leading in the change, or is it, have you had influences from, say, Nova Scotia, New Brunswick? Like, is there other people that are kind of coming together and saying, okay, now that this is kind of risen,
Right.
now how are we dealing with it?
I think the push is really coming from the industry as opposed to individuals like myself. So from an insurer's perspective, they're the ones that are looking at this and wondering if it really does have a good therapeutic track record and where it can be used. As I'd mentioned earlier, I think there are only 4 conditions currently that an insurer will actually cover medical cannabis for.
Right.
I don't think you'll ever see recreational cannabis that's covered under a drug plan. The concern that we have is that somebody that's on medical cannabis, as an example, there's a process that they have to go through. So they have to go to their physician and be prescribed medical cannabis, and then they have to go to Health Canada and actually have approval to be a medical marijuana user, and then at that point they can purchase from a licensed facility. And the reason for that is that those licensed facilities produce marijuana that has decreased levels of THC or maybe increased levels of CBD so that they can have the desired effect. And what happens is that medical cannabis it's quite a bit more expensive than it would be if you were getting it recreationally, say on the street corner as an example.
Oh, okay,
So
yes.
what we're seeing now with the introduction of legal cannabis for recreational use is that you potentially have individuals who have a medical cannabis issue who are now going to the retail market and they're using drugs that have a higher THC level that could impair them far differently than the medical requirement.
Okay. Whoa, that could be very dangerous.
Could be.
Yes, my goodness. Now, great places to locate you would be Facebook,
Right.
and it's Atlantic Benefits.
It is.
Okay, so if someone's watching this tonight and they have a question, then you're open to that.
Sure.
I'm not suggesting that you have every answer, but I'm
Right.
sure that you're very well versed and well knowledged in this,
Right.
so it's very good.
I guess the best contact is just email info@atlanticbenefits.ca.
Okay, great. And you're sponsoring something coming up real quick?
Yeah, we big believers in giving back to the community, and I've got a special place in my heart for Bobby's Hospice on the west side, so we're actually sponsoring a barbecue there on August the 9th. So every Friday, but please come on August the 9th.
Because you'll be there.
I'll be there. There'll be an opportunity to ask questions if somebody wants to, or perhaps just have a hamburger, but there to support.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Rob. Thank
Great,
you.
thanks very much.
And thank you for being here tonight. And thank you to you for staying tuned. My next guest coming up is Tiffany, and please stay tuned.
Hey, it's Chris and Chris from New Brunswick's favorite sports show here, Across the Line, where we talk about everything from local sports across the province, whether it's hockey, baseball, or basketball. Where can we find it, Chris?
Hey, as always, your favorite network, Rogers TV.
In June of 1813, Laura Secord overheard the secret plans of the American soldiers in occupation.
If you raise your sword against Fitzgibbon, Upper Canada will be broken.
How many men can we muster?
500 infantry, battery of artillery, my dragoons. Fitzgibbon can't manage more than 50 men, small bandit natives. Not a serious resistance if you're equal to the enterprise.
Pursue the advance 2 days hence.
Take me to Fitzgibbon.
Laura Secord delivered her message to the Canadian troops. The Kahnawake Mohawks forced the surrender of 500 Yankee soldiers, and the American invasion was stopped.
I've been waiting to smile, been holding it in for a while, take you with me if I can, been dreaming of this since a child. I've been waiting to smile, been holding it in for a while, take me with you if I can, been dreaming of this since a child. I'm on top of the world.
Do you have information about a crime that has occurred or is about to occur? This information can help solve crimes, and tipsters always remain anonymous. Crime Stoppers, 1-800-222-TIPS or www.crimenb.ca.
Thank you so much for staying tuned. I'm now with my second guest for this evening. Her name is Tiffany Agnew, and she is here to tell us a little bit about Brandon sport, right? Hi.
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
I am thrilled that you are here because you have you've done a lot of things in the last year.
Yes.
Yes, which I'm sure we're going to hear all about. So let's hear what's your latest adventure.
Well, so we started the Braden Foundation, and that was in June of last year. So that was in memory of my son, Braden, who passed in May of last year.
Wow. Yes.
So after losing him, I just really felt like I needed something to throw myself into, something that was, bigger than myself that I could focus on. And I also just felt this need for him to be remembered in like this really special way. So I launched the Braden Foundation, and we do room makeovers and shopping sprees for kids in New Brunswick that have severe life-threatening or high-risk illnesses. So we just want to bring a little bit of happiness to these kids who are facing, medical issues that are far beyond their years, and just give them something fun and positive to focus on. So that's kind of what the foundation does, and we really felt that those are the two things that really would have brought Braden the most joy. So that's kind of how we decided on the shopping sprees and the room makeovers.
Oh, that's super sweet. That's really, really nice. And I'm sure the kids, so have you done some already?
We have. We've done 3 room makeovers and 2 shopping sprees.
Now, when you say room makeover, is it like the TV show when they run in and they change everything around?
Yeah, well,
or is it something a little less
maybe not as
dramatic?
not as extreme, but we do go in and we paint. We've done like a panel wall in one room. Our last room was kind of different. The little girl, her name's Zoe, she connects really well with her pets. She actually has an emotional support dog. So she, instead of a room makeover, she actually wanted a pet daycare.
Oh,
so
cool.
Yeah, we actually renovated this space that's like underneath your stairs, so it's like partly slanted and it's really small. So we spent the whole weekend crawling around in there, putting many coats of paint up. But yeah, we turned it into a pet daycare. So
cute.
It had, beds for her pets and like, jars with treats, and
Nice.
yeah, we had some shelves put in there so she could store her little stuffed toys and stuff. So yeah, we go right in. We do pretty big makeover.
Excellent.
And the same thing with the shopping spree. Like we take the kids out for a full day of shopping and spoiling them.
Nice.
And whoever comes along with them, it's usually mom so far, or if a sibling comes, we take them all to dinner too. So it's kind of like a whole day for them, again, just to have that time to be spoiled and have fun and try not to focus on their illness.
Right. Oh yeah, I'm sure you get some pretty big smiles out of
Oh my
the
gosh.
kids, right?
Yes.
What age groups are you working with?
We do kids from 3 to 18 years old.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So
We haven't had
range.
any that young yet, and we haven't had any 18 yet, but
Yeah.
yeah, we've had a variety so far. And we currently have like one more that's like one applicant that's in progress, like his furniture is ordered, and then we have 3 other applicants that are approved, so that are waiting for room makeovers right now.
Oh my gosh. Now, when you say applicants, is there a team of you that get together and do this, or do you do it all yourself?
We have a whole board of directors, so we have 11 on our team right now. So people can apply on our website. We review the applicants at our meetings each month, and we vote based on the medical conditions if they meet the criteria, which is severe, life-threatening, or high risk. So
Absolutely.
yeah, I have a team,
Yeah.
for sure. I wear many hats, but I do have a team of helpers as well, and people that are on the board, which is amazing, helping me make decisions. And then we've also had some awesome people that have helped volunteer, for rooms and stuff like that. We try not to do painting, so ourselves, like that's something that we reach out for, and we're trying to get a list of volunteers who want to come in and do stuff like that for us. Professionals that are much faster than us.
Yeah. Hey, it's always good to learn, right?
Exactly.
So how, if somebody's watching this evening that says, hey, I'd like to help out with that, would they just find you on a website or
Absolutely.
on Facebook?
So they can reach out to us on our website, thebradenfoundation.com, or on Facebook and send a message, or even by email if they want to get involved.
Excellent. So where would you like to see this go?
Well, we actually have another big project for the Braden Foundation launching in fall that we're really excited about. So just through my own experience of, dealing with Braden, having a life-threatening illness, and then connecting and talking to the various parents that I've met so far, we noticed that there was a need in our community for a support group for parents. That hasn't been, it's not being met right now. So there is no support. There's support for people if they've lost someone, but there's no support for these parents that have, kids at home that are dealing with, life-threatening illnesses, which can be obviously very stressful. It can turn your life upside down. And so we reached out to a couple of them when we thought of the idea. We asked them what their thoughts were, and they were beyond excited. A couple of our applicant parents actually they tried to start one themselves. And
before you came along?
Yeah,
okay.
before they knew me, they actually, and I didn't know this until I reached out to ask, what do you guys think of this idea? Is it something that you think you need? And they were really happy. They had tried to start their own, but they were unable to find someone to facilitate it.
Okay.
So lucky for us, we have one of our board members, Kira Howard, who is a certified counselor, who is volunteered to take that project on. So
nice.
we have it, it's even going to be facilitated by someone with the correct educational background. So we're just really excited to be able to offer that support and grow the foundation a little bit bigger.
For sure. Now, is the foundation supporting the people in the St. John area, or how far do your applicants come from?
We do say that it's for all of New Brunswick. We haven't gotten anyone outside the St. John Quispamsis area yet. But maybe now with this show, it'll reach someone and they'll apply. So that would be kind of exciting to reach into a new community, right? And to spread Braden's light into that community, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
That would be
I know
really
that you
amazing.
sent a beautiful picture of your son.
Yes.
And I'm sure that they'll put that up, or if they have already. He was a sweetheart. Looks like a beautiful,
He was a
beautiful
sweetheart.
person. If somebody's watching this and says, I have either a company I can help support this, or they have ideas, would that be going towards contacting you directly?
Absolutely. Again, though, the website, on Facebook, even by email.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Excellent.
we'd love to hear from anyone that has ideas or wants to help. That would be amazing.
Good. So with honoring Braden and seeing where you've gone this far, is there something that you wish that you could add to your foundation, or is there something that would actually take it to another level?
I'm pretty happy with the direction of the foundation. My goal is definitely to grow it and eventually have employees at the Braden Foundation. Aside from the foundation, though, I also do some other things, partly inspired by him. So I do public speaking, and I'm currently writing a book about the lessons that he taught me in life. And I also have a really big 100 Brave Things project that was inspired by him. And seeing him go through his illness, this was his second life-threatening illness in his short 18 years here on Earth. And he really went through it with so much grace and so much courage. And I just decided that I want to live my life the same way he did. And I just want to live more bravely. So that's a big project that I'm working on. I'm considering this number 13 because it's my first TV interview.
Oh, well, this is hopefully your first of many.
Yeah, my first of many. So this is number 13, and just over the weekend I did number 12, and I did the Over the Edge. I'm not sure if you heard of it.
Oh my goodness, I think I knew that you were going over the edge.
So that was, Over the Edge was my number 12, and they're not all really that big and crazy.
Yeah.
Some of them are quite small, start this challenge, and I got myself used to doing some Facebook Live videos, so they're all varying in sizes. But yeah, I did go over the edge, 142 feet and 13 stories this weekend.
Wow. That was the Hilton, wasn't it?
It was the Hilton, and it was very scary. And when I stepped up to the ledge, I was filled with regret instantly.
Oh my gosh, you're like, I can just stop.
Yeah, I'm like, what was I thinking? Why did I want to do this? But you know what? When I was done, it felt really good. It felt really good to because I've always been really afraid of heights. Like, I once refused to get on the child-size roller coaster with Braden at the fair, not even like the big exhibition, like the fair. I made someone else get on with him because that was my depth of fear when it comes to rides or heights. So I'm not an adventurer, so this was a really big challenge for me. And when I was done, I got to say, it felt really good. I instantly felt more confident and like I was standing a little taller and I could take on even more challenges. So.
Well, as you speak about the challenges, the 100, was it 100
100 Brave Things.
100 Brave Things. Can you elaborate a little bit on that? What is that?
So at the beginning of the year, I decided that my word of the year, I kind of set a word of the year every year. It's kind of like my intention, my tone for the year. And I picked brave because of Braden and wanting to live more like him. And I picked it, and then I thought about it, and I was just like, I need something that's going to keep me more committed to actively pursuing and trying to be more brave. So I decided that I would do the 100 Brave Things project, and I've just been coming up with things. I haven't done that was the craziest one. Some other things, I started a side business helping other entrepreneurs with their social media admin, project management, just as a way to fund my dreams of speaking and writing. I launched a product. It's called inspirational stickers that I have.
Okay, nice.
And like I said, I started doing videos. I was very, very nervous of videos. So I started with Instagram stories because I liked the idea that they would disappear, after the 24 hours. I warmed up to those, and then I warmed up to pre-recording them and then watching them and deleting them and making several. And then I was like, I'm just gonna go live. So I've worked up to that. I also held a lizard on my head when I was away on vacation, which is really outside of my comfort zone too. So it's been various things. This summer, I'm planning a trip for the Fun Day Footpath.
Oh, yes.
That's one of the next things on the 100 Brave list.
Oh, fantastic.
So there's a few of us ladies. We probably have about 4 or 5 now that are committed. So that takes 4 to 5 days. So we're gonna do that hike and carry our tents and.
Gee, that's a long ways to go.
It is, yeah. So it's really pushing myself with, and like I said, some of them aren't that big, but that'll be another big one. That'll really push me to hike for that long. I've never hiked even remotely close to that.
Well, I thank you so much that you've been here, and we'll look forward to seeing you again. And stay tuned. I've got Alan England coming up next.
Are you the type who would keep going or stop? It's not easy to stop when you have an addiction. Legalizing cannabis won't stop addiction. It trivializes its consumption. Let's be vigilant. If you need help, visit portage.ca.
Everybody come along, everybody sing a song, lighten up and carry on. It's a brand new day. Everybody come along, everybody sing a song, lighten up and carry on.
More than half of tips reported through the Crime Stoppers program are now reported online. Information about unsolved crimes, local advisories, and how to report tips anonymously can be found at www.crimenb.ca.
Thank you so much for staying tuned. I'm now with my third guest for this evening. Today is June 26th. I have now Alan England. He is the tribute artist. He's an Elvis tribute artist. Sorry, my correction. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Heather. Thanks for having me on.
I'm very pleased that you could be here. I was kind of expecting the Elvis outfit, but it didn't happen.
I had to leave that home tonight.
Okay, I can appreciate that. That's okay. So, Elvis. So how long have you been doing the Elvis tribute artist?
I would say probably about 7 years.
Okay.
And it started off in a sort of a weird kind of way. I was asked to play Elvis at a venue uptown.
Really?
Just at a Vegas theme night.
Okay.
And, you know, they were paying me. They just wanted me to walk around in my Elvis suit.
Really?
And then at the last minute, they asked me if I'd lip sing a few songs on stage. There's about 400 people there. And I said that wasn't part of the deal, but I agreed to do it. And I said, I'm not going to lip sing. I'm going to bring my own backing music. And so I sang 3 songs for 400 people.
Wow.
And it was fun. So I said, well, this is kind of nice. And a few people started to call me and asked me if I could start doing this and that. And I did a few. And it just turned in, over the years, it got to be so fun. It just went from there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So were you always a singer?
I don't think so. I think there's.
you kind of.
I think there's
exercised.
there's a lot of good singers out there that people just don't know that they're good singers. So
right.
Elvis was, you know, a great artist. So it seemed to be a good fit. So I started to practice in the basement, and I had this idea that I'd like to take it to a group of people, which is seniors,
Yes.
and I started to do it, and they keep asking me back. So
That's awesome.
yeah, it's fun.
That's really great. So when you go to see the seniors, is it always the same place, or do you travel around a little bit?
No, I was asked to go to a couple of places here in town, most of the time at the Villa and the Village, and they're across the road from each other. And then I got word of mouth. I went out to do the Shanx, and I've done several around St. John. And I've been asked to do a lot more, which I've turned down. I just don't have as much time, because it's a volunteer gig for me now, and I have a regular job, as James Mullinger would say, a proper job. But I do it when I can,
Yes.
when I want to, and where I want to. And it seems to be going well, yeah.
Well, you must really love, I've done a lot of volunteer work in my past as well, but I don't sing.
Yeah.
I've never been able to do that yet.
You don't know that yet.
Well, I don't know that. I think I sound great, but I sing to myself.
Right.
So,
That's how it starts.
I'm no Celine Dion. But if you've started like this, like you've also got the theatrics that have to go along with it.
Well,
How did you get that blue suede shoes kind of movement?
Well,
How did you do that?
I follow a lot of these guys. I pay to go see a lot of them. So I've seen a few really good ones. And I think it's just a fun thing to do. And it's like, I'd like to do that, you know?
Yeah.
And without doing it as a job.
Right.
Because as a job, it's a real business, and
It
you have to
doesn't
pay.
become fun.
You have to pay people, and
Right.
it's just a big old headache. So I have my own suits. I have my own backing tracks. I just add the vocals.
Right.
And there's nobody to complain, you know what I mean? And I don't have to pay anybody.
That's amazing.
So, and the show ends up turning into a lot of different music than Elvis. I just know that growing up, listening to a lot of older music, I consider myself an old soul. So I hear all this old music that I know that the seniors will appreciate.
Right.
And it resonates with them, you know. So I end up doing a lot of different artists beside Elvis. And I don't really like all of Elvis's music.
Okay.
And I think a lot of the real tribute artists will say the same. They stay away from certain songs.
Right.
And they will stick to the safe and easy ones, the ones that are popular.
Right.
But I know that seniors like a lot of old music, so I started to sing different stuff.
Like what? What can you give us some examples of?
Well, some of this stuff is pretty crazy, but when you put on an Elvis suit and you sing Johnny Cash,
Okay.
Engelbert Humperdinck, Tom Jones, Roy
Tom
Orbison,
Jones, yes.
Roy Orbison, Louis Armstrong, Marty Robbins, Dean Martin, Freddie Fender, yes, that's
Oh,
true.
Whoa.
Alan Jackson, the Beatles, CCR, and of course Elvis. I've done them all, and they get great response. So I think they can remember certain staple songs. It's like, oh yeah, and they like it. And I know they like it because they're mouthing, they're singing to it.
Of course,
So,
yes.
you know, and if it gives them a lot of fun, that's fun for me, because doing what I do is fun. But when I do it as a volunteer, everybody wins.
Right.
And, you know, sometimes I sing a little too long in my shows, and they're checking the clock. This guy's still here, and it's 90 minutes, you know.
Some people fall asleep, maybe? Do they?
Well, you know what,
Not to say that it's the songs. It's just like, do you do these shows during the daytime or nighttime? There's a question.
Sometimes I have to work around other people's schedules and my own
okay.
job. So
Yeah.
they're not at any set time, but I just tend to get running away with the show, and they want to hear more and more
That's
and more.
awesome.
And there are times I can get up between 35 and 37 songs.
Oh my gosh.
So that's...
Now, do you do costume changes or?
No, I have
You-
a few
you're-
suits, and I
okay.
just, you know, it's not that elaborate. It's a fun show.
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't try to look like Elvis, but people say I have a good voice for it. And so I try to give them a good show and give them as many songs as I can get into a show. And they don't want me to leave.
No.
Some of them have even come up to me and said, if they won't pay you, we'll pay you. We have money. We want you to come back. So I know they're loving it. So,
Cool.
yeah.
So just at the picture we have up at the moment, that's is that local?
Yes, that's at the Loch Lomond Villa.
What's happening there?
That's my country set of Johnny Cash.
Oh, okay. I
So-
see the cowboy hat.
Yeah, and you know, they just they appreciate country music, so I have a cowboy hat, I have a guitar,
Yeah.
and you know, I just do my thing, and they appreciate it. And sometimes I'm looking for new music, so I'll experiment a little bit.
Oh, okay.
So
And who? Now that's an outfit. Yeah.
yeah,
What is
sometimes you
happening
gotta,
there?
well, sometimes you gotta change the outfit up.
Yeah.
Just like you change the songs up.
Sure,
Just to keep it
sure.
fresh, you know. But, you know, honestly, if I was doing this as a business, it wouldn't be half as fun, because it's a business, and it's a lot of pressure. And,
Oh, yeah.
you know, this is fun, and I make it fun for everybody.
Is that a boa that you have around your neck, or is that
A what?
a boa, a feather boa, or no?
That's a cape.
That's a
and
cape?
That's a cape I had made here in town,
Okay.
and that's just a lay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I
you
give
must
lay-
be singing Hawaiian music there.
A little bit of everything.
Yeah?
But I have a lot of lays I give out.
Oh, do you?
Some people cry, and,
Oh.
you know,
that's
so
sweet.
it's just a little bit of memories for people, right? So,
Okay.
yeah, so.
And there's looks like that maybe the same. Maybe it's a different show.
It's the
But-
same show, just a different angle, and,
Okay.
you know, sometimes they see me come in my white aloha suit, and sometimes it's nice to give them something different.
Cool. What's some of your most memorable times and shows that you've been at?
I played a show a few years back where a fella was dying at the hospice, and he'd always been an Elvis freak, and he'd never seen an Elvis tribute artist, so they asked me if I'd perform for him and his family. So I went over there and I did him a show, and I ended up knowing half of his family.
Oh, wow.
But he had a great time, and he was thrilled, and I think 3 or 5 days later he passed away. So I gave him one of my capes, and they buried him with it.
Oh.
So yeah, it was kind of special, but just making a connection with his family, and you know, it's fun for me. It was not like a job. It's not something I have to do. It's something I want to do.
Right.
So,
right.
you know.
Oh my gosh. Now, your costumes, where do they come from? Do you...
I just buy them online, and
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
I didn't
Well,
know
you know,
could... they're pretty elaborate.
the real guys will spend, you know, lots of money on them. I think mine are around $500, $400.
Oh, I've seen some Elvis impersonators, and I've seen some really bad ones.
Yeah.
And I've seen some good ones. You actually are in the good range.
Well,
Yes.
thank you. And one guy did say to me, he said, you know, you're not a typical hack. You're actually really good. I said,
Yeah.
well, thank you. But, you know, it's, there are some really good ones out there, and there are bad ones. I just try to be around the middle.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Well, what you are is you're definitely enjoying what you're doing.
Yes.
And that comes out very apparently, right, to people that are watching you. And you're not coming in with like the big dark glasses and the
Yeah,
fake hair.
yeah. A lot of these
Yeah.
guys are in the business. They have to dye their hair. They have to do all that. And Elvis actually dyed his hair from the late 50s on.
He did.
He dyed his hair, his sideburns, his eyebrows, everything.
Really?
Yeah, and when he died, he was actually, fun fact, he was in the casket and his hairdresser realized he'd been dead for a few days, so there was some white growing here.
Oh my goodness.
So the story is he got some eyeshadow or something from a woman and did it up for the funeral.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so that's...
That's a good fun fact.
Yeah, and Elvis actually did his last show 42 years ago tonight,
Is that right?
at the age of 42. And then he
Wow.
died 6 weeks later, so...
Is that
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So
That's
I've-
kind of an interesting anniversary to this.
Well,
isn't
it's unusual, yeah, so I'm past 42, so I'm still
It's
here.
very serendipitous. Yeah.
It is, yeah.
Have you been to Graceland?
No, but I like to go sometime.
You definitely need to
Lots
go.
of friends
Oh my
have
goodness.
been. Lots of friends have been. I know a guy that was married there, so it's
Married at Graceland?
Yeah, yeah. He's an Elvis tribute guy across the seas, and we're Facebook friends, and he got married at Graceland, and he does this for a business.
Is that right?
Yeah, yeah. So
Oh my gosh. Now, if somebody wants to reach out and to contact you, what's the best way to find you? To say,
you
hey,
can find me on.
you Facebook, right?
I'm on Facebook. You can find me on YouTube. I have certain videos I can just let go, and they can email me.
So the YouTube videos, are they under Elvis? Like, how would somebody find those?
You can type in my name,
Alan England.
Alan England Elvis, and you would
And it's
find me.
A-L-E-N.
A-L-A-N.
Sorry, A-L-A-N, England.
Just like the
Okay.
country, yeah.
Just like
Yep.
the country. Well, thank you for that.
And I was born actually in England too.
You were?
Yes, so.
Is that right?
And some of my favorite Elvis tribute artists, the real ones, are British. It's strange, so.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Because they don't sing with a British accent.
No,
when
no,
they
and
sing.
I don't either, but they're actually British, and I think the British are well known for doing impersonations.
Okay.
So that's all it really is. You change your voice,
Yeah.
and if you can do a few other things, well, that helps too.
Wow. You going to add anybody to your roster?
I keep practicing, so, you know.
What's the best thing that you could suggest to somebody to be the best Elvis impersonator?
Well, there's three things. You got to have the looks, somewhat.
Yeah.
You have to have the moves, and you have to have the voice.
Right.
I always consider my favorite Elvis tribute artists have the voice first. Some of
Yes.
them try too hard, and it doesn't come across well. But if you have the voice and a little bit of charisma, it's a lot of fun.
Is that right?
I find, yeah.
And you're just making that perfect every time you're out there.
I'm trying to do my best, yeah, and my senior friends, they love me, so they keep asking me back.
Is that right?
Yep.
Okay. So do you have a show coming up really soon?
I try to do a lot at Christmas, and then I try to do some throughout the summer. But I
Awesome.
just pick and choose.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Alan, for being with us.
Thanks, Heather.
Stay tuned. We've got Judith Sweeney coming up right after this.
I, Ezekiel Hart, Seigneur of Bécancourt, duly elected deputy of Trois-Rivières, hereby swear...
Sacrilege!
No, 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 no. The oath must be sworn as a true Christian, and you're not. Expulsion.
He was elected, Father, by the Catholics of Trois-Rivières. Even the priests supported him. Who are we?
Monsieur Papineau, you have learned well from your elders, or have you?
And it is hereby declared and enacted that all persons professing the Jewish religion and residing in this province are entitled to the full rights and privileges of all other subjects.
In 1832, Louis-Joseph Papineau and the Assembly of Lower Canada enacted a law giving Jews full rights of citizenship, 25 years before the same rights were granted anywhere else in the British Empire.
Support your local charities and win great prizes by playing bingo on Rogers TV.
You betrayed me. Now you have to pay.
You think she's trying to build her own line?
We just made $500,000 in 5 seconds.
We can't let her beat us. I'm doing everything I can!
Mr. Zaleski, stop.
What are you people?
It's us.
Be careful. It's our time now.
Did you know, since 1985, Crime Stoppers has helped solve close to 8,000 crimes in New Brunswick? Crime Stoppers, 1-800-222-TIPS. That's 1-800-222-8477 or www.crimenb.ca.
Thank you so much for staying tuned. I'm now with my fourth guest for this evening, and her name is Judith Sweeney. Hi, Judith.
Hi, thank you so much for having me on the show. You look lovely.
Oh, thank you, and you too. And I know that we smell lovely because I've been using your product since I've seen you.
Oh, thank you so much.
So tell us what you do, Judith.
So myself and my husband own a natural bath company in the St. John City Market. So we make all natural deodorants, we make all natural soaps. We love using different natural ingredients to help promote the benefits of nature.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, for super sensitive skin, it's fantastic.
Excellent, excellent. How long have you been in the market now?
So we've been in the St. John City Market since December 3rd. We actually started the company out in Alberta in 2014.
Is that right?
Yeah, and we were servicing Calgary and Lethbridge and grew quite large out there. And then we had our first child and decided it was time to come back home.
Oh.
So yeah, we opened our doors December 2018, so just this past December.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So that's something new I just learned myself, is that you were originally from out west.
We're actually from
You're
New
from
Brunswick
here.
and then went out west and then
started a company,
yeah,
came
yeah.
home. Wow. So how did your product manage to go out there? Pretty good?
Yeah. There was the reason why we started the company is we found there was a really big gap in natural handmade products, and we really wanted to have natural skincare for ourselves. So it started out, we started making soaps for personal use, and when you start making soaps, you either become a professional gift giver, where you make so much, right? You can't just make one bar of soap, or you have to start selling. So we started selling, and it just kind of snowballed from there, and we got aromatherapy training and really fell in love with aromatherapy and the benefits that had, and alongside, a research and development and everything like that.
Oh
so
my gosh, yes.
Just snowballed.
It's one of those things that you start and you say, oh, okay, I'm only going to be here.
Yep.
And then you go, well, we can do this and we can do this. So now I was amazed to see your little shop in the market, in the city market. It's beautiful, and I love the amount of stock that you have is incredible. So do you make that? Sorry.
Yeah. So I hand make everything on site, and then we have a couple staff members who help us out as well. We also do the night market located just right next door to the St. John City Market. So it's done on Thursday nights for some late night shopping with picaroons is there, so you can have a beer while you browse, which is nice. And then we also do the Garrison Night Market in Fredericton too.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Is that the same night?
Yeah, that's Thursday nights as well.
Is it? Wow.
So it
do you
keeps us
send
on our toes.
I bet, because you'd have to divide your staff. And you've got two people working with you.
We've got two people, yeah. Caitlin and Chloe.
Nice. I know Chloe personally, and she's a great I'm a believer in the natural products as well.
Lovely.
So she's great. You have some contests going on too, because when I was there, I happened to see a beautiful basket.
Yeah, we have a summer giveaway going on. So we have a basket that's filled with everything you would need for a fun day at the beach. So we've got a really chic beach towel, we've got some shades.
Nice.
And then of course we have our natural products. So we have our natural bug repellent, which works fantastic. We also have cucumber mint soap, which is really nice and cooling.
Nice.
And our natural sun barrier too, which is fantastic.
Excellent. What's your favorite product out of all your products? Do you have a favorite?
Absolutely. Our deodorants, hands down,
Is that
are
right?
one of my favorite products. They work so well, and it took us, we started trying different natural deodorants, and we were really disappointed with the results. They either didn't last all day or they didn't last, after a few applications.
Mm-hmm.
So it took me about a year to formulate the recipe we have now, and it's amazing. My husband uses it. It works well for him, and he can work up a sweat.
Yeah. Well, we've had Justin on before, your
Yeah.
husband, talking about, I believe he was with the Loan Fund for that show,
Yeah.
and still is, I believe, with the Loan Fund. And he's always on the go, so I can imagine that he'd be a good test subject.
Absolutely, yeah. If ever I want anything tested out, he is the first one to raise his hand, and even like some of our mud masks and stuff.
Really?
I've got a couple photos too. It's
You didn't send me those.
I didn't
You
send
should
you
have
those.
sent
Yeah.
That's really incredible. Love the packaging.
Thank
I
you.
know that you brought a couple of products here, but I know there's some photos that you did send.
Yeah.
But the packaging is beautiful.
Thank you.
And you've got such a sweet it's very professionally done, which is awesome. Was that done in Canada?
Yeah,
Or,
we get that done in Canada, and then I've kind of taken over doing a lot of the different logos and things like that as well. So we
Right.
do those in store, and we print our labels in store too.
Wow.
Just to kind of try and keep everything local. Even all of our supplies for ingredients are in Canada. So we try to, work local as much as possible.
Nice, nice. Oh, I see there's some product shots on the beach.
Yeah,
Yes, which is
Caitlin
great.
took those. It's fantastic. Those are a pink lemonade, and that's our giveaway right there.
Oh, that's a giveaway basket.
Yeah. So it has a nice big floppy hat for you to enjoy a nice day at the beach, and then our natural sun
that
screen.
was on its side, but I'm pretty sure that it's.
Oh,
you could look at that on your side.
Yeah.
Oh no, there's
And
your.
that's us.
There's
That's our
Kate
team.
and Chloe. And you.
Yeah. So those are the faces you'll see in Bubbles and Bombs. If ever you stop by the St. John City Market or one of the night markets, we'll be kicking around there.
Excellent. So it explains to somebody to locate you in the market. So if you're walking from the Germain Street entrance, you're up on the left-hand side.
Yes. Yeah, we're right next to Uptown Donuts, and you'll see our stall. It's a big, beautiful, it's done with blue, bright blue. You can't miss us.
Yeah.
And you'll be able to smell us a lot sooner than you'll see us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of that, sensitivity with smells.
Yes.
So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, we only use essential oils, and then we get third-party testing done to ensure their purity. So they're not cut with any artificial fragrances or perfumes or anything like that. So they provide you with the aromatherapy benefits alongside smelling fantastic.
Wow. And and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I'm just kind of asking this off the cuff here. Some people, I find perfumes might be a little bit too much, but with essential oils, they don't necessarily have the same sensitivity.
No,
Is that
there's
correct?
no parabens in essential oils, so you don't get that. A lot of people get headaches from perfumes and
perfume?
fragrances. Yeah, they
Or
won't get that.
soaps?
The only time anybody would have an allergy is if they're allergic to that plant, because the essential oil does come directly from the plant source itself. So if you're allergic to like cedar wood or anything like that, you might be allergic to the essential oil as well. But usually sensitivities are kept very minimal when it comes to natural products and that type of thing.
Awesome. Well, definitely I'm excited to try I think it's called Shoe Fly.
Yep. Yeah, that's our natural bug repellent.
It's awesome. Now it's, rained since, but I'm sure I'm going to get to use it soon. Can you talk a little bit about that product? Because that seems to be like, if people know about this product and it does what everyone tells me it does, it's going to be amazing.
It is definitely one of our top sellers for the season. We include hydrosols, which is a byproduct of how they make essential oils, alongside neem oil and then the essential oils themselves. We've used it in Alberta, we've used it in Ontario, where the bugs are atrocious, especially with all those little lakes. And of course, we've used it in the Maritimes. It's safe for 2 and up, and we do have our littlest shoe fly for 2 and under, so for babies. It's done without the use of essential oils, just to make it a little bit safer for them.
Sure.
Our regular shoe fly can also be used on dogs and horses, 20 pounds and up.
Is that right? Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, we use it on Finny all the time when we go out in the woods. We spray it on his belly.
Yeah?
Yep.
And that would assume, how big is he? Is that your dog?
Yeah, he's about 25, 30 pounds.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's awesome. Because, poor animals, they get attacked by black flies just as bad as we do.
Yeah, absolutely. And you
black
want to,
flies.
especially with those ticks and stuff, you want to make sure that they keep away.
Yeah, and it will repel any type of insect. Is
Yeah,
that how
so
it
it's
works?
good for ticks, it's good for black flies as well, mosquitoes.
Wow. My goodness. Now, the soaps are really beautiful. I noticed they're like naturally formed. Most of them, right?
Yeah, so we make those in a loaf, so they come out in, it looks like a giant bread pan kind of thing. It's about 2 feet long and about the width of that.
Oh, yes.
And so I pour it all in. It's liquid when it goes in, and then through the saponification process, it starts to gel. So at that point, I make the pretty tops on top, and then it sits overnight, and I cut it in the morning, and then it needs to sit for about 4 weeks before it can be used. Yeah, it's a long curing process. I do cold process soap.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Yeah, this is really cute. And it's great packaging because it tells you everything on it. Handcrafted, vegan, gluten-free, of course, in case you want to eat it.
Absolutely. Does not taste nearly as good as it smells.
Now, have you created a soap yet for shampooing your hair.
Yes.
Like, can you tell me a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So we have our Soft Lock shampoo bar, and shampoo bars have become increasingly popular, especially with the movement for zero waste packaging.
Yes.
And that's something that we're slowly working on is trading all our packaging for as much zero waste as possible. We really believe wholeheartedly in enjoying the benefits of nature and giving back to that.
Nice.
So we'd like to make as minimal impact on the environment as possible. We have a couple new shampoo bars that are going to be hitting the shelves alongside our already standard shampoo bar. So those will be going out in about a month, and we're going to be doing a bunch of free giveaways of those too. So make sure to stop by the city market for a little free treat.
Now, can somebody follow you on Facebook? Are they still included into types of giveaways that way as well?
Absolutely. We have the summer package that we have going on right now. If you just like us on Facebook and tag a buddy underneath that post, you can enter to win that fantastic summer beach pack. And we do regular giveaways too. So if you can find us on Facebook, Bubbles and Bombs, and we're also on Instagram, and we have a fantastic website as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Good.
we ship all across Canada.
Is that right? Yeah. Oh, fantastic. Well, of course. I mean, you've come across. You might as well share the wealth with everybody with this beautiful product. This is really, I'm a huge believer of the natural products. I think it's definitely a way to go, and nothing against others. But, I mean, your hair, you got beautiful hair. Do you use the bar too?
I do,
Oh
yes.
my gosh.
Yeah, absolutely. And I honestly, I'll steal some of Justin's beard oil as well on occasion.
Oh, yes,
because
because he does have a beard. Yes. You should create a new product for your part of Bubbles and Bombs for shampoo for beards.
Yes, yeah.
So your bath bombs, how long do they last?
For bath bombs, you drop them in the tub, they fizz up, they dissolve, they leave your skin so nice and soft. They're not going to color your tub, they're not going to color you, which is a really big benefit. And then you get the aromatherapy as well. So they fizz for about, I'd say, 5 minutes or so. And then our bubble truffles, now those are fantastic. You rub it underneath the running water, they make these big, beautiful bubbles that'll last about 40 minutes in the tub.
Fantastic. Awesome. Thank you so much, Judith, for being with me tonight. And
Thank you,
this is
Heather.
great. I will look forward to buying more. I'd like to also thank you, the viewer audience, and also the volunteers here at Rogers Studio, and all my guests. And thank you, and look forward to seeing you in another 2 weeks. But thank you, Judith. Thank you to Robert. Thank you to Tiffany. And of course, thank you to the Elvis impersonator, Alan.
Call the Rogers TV viewer response line, email us, or connect with us on social media.
When you become a Rogers volunteer, it's always an opportunity for everybody to come together and try different things that they've never been able to do before.
What I've learned here is different skills that I thought I would never even be interested in learning.
By being here at Rogers, I can learn all these different things that will help me be stronger.
Working here as a volunteer is a good way to get to know your community. It's a good way to learn how to work as a part of a team.
They're people from our community, so they know and they have a heart for our community to step outside of our comfort zone and do more.
Don't be afraid, because this is where you're going to gain the most valuable experience that you can use in your future.
I encourage everybody to be a volunteer at Rogers TV because not only do you grow professionally, you grow personally as well.
This is Rogers TV, New Brunswick.
He has my eyes. He has his mother's cheekbones. He has her competitive nature. He has my weird sense of humor. He has her love of reading. He has my oxycodone.
Some things should never be passed down. Lock up or turn in your prescription drugs. Learn more at secureyourmeds.ca. A message from Drug Free Kids Canada.